what's up there? It's a Thursday, so coming to the end of the week now. Anyway, coming to the end of the week, which is pretty cool, very exciting. Past the hump. I mean, Wednesday was actually pretty cool. Yesterday, I got to go to my alma mater and pretty much check out what's going on with some other alumni and students. And I guess it's always interesting to see what questions that students have to ask and what kind of experiences and advice that new graduates have for the students. It's pretty fascinating. I think there's definitely a shift in priorities because for students, a lot of their concerns is really getting a job. And what I think is pretty much my perspective is that I don't really think about that too much nowadays, but I'm really looking at how to excel at my job that I have currently. That's pretty interesting and also very nice to kind of give back to your alma mater, I would say. Other than that, there was a little bit of a board game night yesterday, which was pretty cool. I think it was the first online board game night hosted by this group, so there's definitely some challenges with that and a lot of learnings that can be taken away. I mean, pretty much there's two things. Pretty much a lot of people were not familiar with using a software and needed help troubleshooting how to get it to work. And the other thing was it's just kind of difficult and doesn't have the same vibe when you go into an online group to kind of join a game. It would take more of an upfront cost, I guess, in comparison to meeting in a real life board game night. But yeah, I mean, we kind of discussed through them and discussed some options. But really the main topic I want to talk about this morning was just the fashion waste that happens with apparels, because actually it's kind of surprising, I think, on a personal basis, because I'm not really familiar with the fashion industry, and it just goes to show how pretty much everyone doesn't really know about the situation. I think there's a few late night shows that kind of discussed it, like with Patriot Act and last week tonight with John Oliver, and it's kind of enlightening because you think about the fashion industry as being so cheap, but there's actually a huge cost to the environment because there's actually a surprising amount of water that goes around to making each individual item of clothes. And this has a huge environmental effect, right? Especially when there's so much clothes being created all the time. But the real thing that I feel is really fascinating is just returns. Very often the items that you return to a store are actually just thrown away. And this could be going to dumpsters, they could be recycled in some cases. Sometimes they're donated and sometimes they're actually burned, which is absolutely crazy, right? But it's actually really reasonable in perspective because really the free returns is really the policy around them with a certain quality to it. It's really just to prevent people from returning items. Obviously, stores don't want to be giving back money to people who've been wearing their clothes, obviously. I guess the surprising part is that those items aren't resold, even though there's a standard. But it makes sense because it's actually very expensive to verify that this item can be resold, because all stores, they have a very strict standard. If you look at Walmart's actually apparel kind of distribution centers, there's such a high standard for the clothes that can come in, and it's only really viable at mass production level. But to verify every individual return, it goes at a case-by-case basis, and really the labor costs would not be, one, able to kind of make a good determination of whether it can be resold, and number two, it'll be too expensive to have the manpower to determine that, so it's just cheaper to burn them. So personally, I guess I'll think twice about really going to the store and returning an item, because it's so crazy that it's just going to be thrown away. I might as well donate it and hopefully it'll go to a better place. And I'll probably think about buying actually used clothes, because it seems like it's not too different actually from the clothes that you already buy, because really there's actually a pretty good standard for those used clothes, and it's probably a standard of just around the same as a returned item, right? And I'd rather me wear it than it go to the trash bin. So that's all I have for this morning. So I'll see you later. Have a happy Thursday. Bye.